Well, hello, everyone. It's good to be back. I've been in some pretty intense research over the last, especially 3 weeks regarding lockdowns and mandatory vaccines, the roots going into big pharma, the pharmaceutical industries, and alarmingly, the CIA's connections to the kind of biosecurity state tactics we've seen, not just in the United States, but influencing Australia, Germany, and the rest of the world. That was all pre-planned in about 20 different war game scenarios. So that process was already in place and ready to go before COVID emerged. Those are just the facts. And of course, that, as you all know, I'm not here to be popular. I'm just here to publish the facts. And that's what I do. I'll be getting into this into great detail. I've already been banned or hit from YouTube once for this stuff. So who knows how long I'll stay on there, but that's the purpose of this channel, to give you guys vetted, accurate, documented information that you're not going to find anywhere else. I was trained by the CIA as an analyst, intelligence gatherer, analyst, and reporter. And one of my espionage cases went to the desk of the President of the United States. I say that humbly, not because I have an ego. I just want you to know that I am trained in research and analysis. And frankly, I have to tell you, that's what I love to do. And I'm doing that for you guys. My Patreons are the most important people that I have following me. And so I put you guys first, and I give you these broadcasts first. So it's good to have you all there. Thank you for the wonderful comments that I've received from some of you all. I hope you know how much those mean to me, because when I come out with some of this information, sometimes I get a storm of attacks back. I'm kind of used to that, but it's always nice to have a nice, encouraging word every now and then. It kind of helps make what you're doing seem worth it. So your comments, your donations, your sponsorship, that's what keeps me going. And that's kind of the backbone of what I do. So thanks for joining me. I want to talk today, about something that is quite disturbing. Just when I think I've unraveled all that's out there about the CIA's involvement domestically in the United States, and I can kind of pop my boots up and don't have to do that anymore, I find out more. The tentacles of the CIA across this country is not only is it unconstitutional, but it's mind-boggling. There's a section in Robert Kennedy Jr.'s book, The Real Dr. Anthony Fauci. It's called Germ Games at the End. And I wrote a section for Bobby Kennedy on that regarding the CIA's reach. And I would encourage you to get that book because it is courageous. Bobby Kennedy has written a courageous book. He's taken a lot of heat for it. They've gone after and tried to hit him hard. And I've encouraged him a couple of times, having been on that end of the stick. And he gets no profits from that book whatsoever. It all goes to Children's Health Defense. So The Real Dr. Anthony Fauci, please, I don't have any financial stake or stock in that. I just think it's one of the most courageous books written in recent memory. So let's talk about this, you guys, in terms of the CIA's control of our data. Now, we all know that the cloud is the new data mine that is out there, that is housing huge amounts of our data and our information. We think, well, that's just run by Microsoft, which is not necessarily good. And I'll get into detail later in these presentations. Okay, it's just our data up there. It's a great way to store things without having to back them up or without computer crashes and stuff. And sadly, I wish that was true, but it's not. The cloud is controlled, developed, and I'll show you the connections here in a moment, by none other than the Central Intelligence Agency. Again, not only is the CIA itself unconstitutional, and if you've watched any of my presentations, you know that I document and prove that it's manipulation of our government. I prove it with facts and documentation. I think we've got, oh gosh, probably 2.5 million views on that, and then about another 12 million, I guess, on the video that I did, Out of Shadows. Of course, banned by YouTube, which I'm starting to consider that a compliment. Anyway, the CIA should have no reach domestically within the United States and no control and no influence of the American people or their private data. Should not. It's illegal and it's unconstitutional. But as you all know, I've said before, we are under a post-constitutional government now, sadly. The CIA has been out of control since its inception, and it still is. I come from the belly of the beast, so-called. I know that place from top to bottom and all around the world. And they know that. They know how much I know. Now, I'm no Edward Snowden. I revealed what they did to my family in the cover-up and the blacked out documents, because not only was that unconstitutional, it was criminal. And as the saying goes, you can mess with a man, but you don't mess with his children. But I'm not an Edward Snowden. I'm not going to come out and publish everything I know. There's no reason for me to do that. But I think they're finally getting over their paranoia that I was going to do that and stopped following me. And we've had some, they've attacked my data on my computers and my networks pretty heavily. So it hasn't stopped, but maybe they're starting to get it that I've already exposed what I'm going to expose in that regard. And I want you all to know too, how powerful they have in their reach over the internet and our data. Specifically, all my programs, you all are wondering where my programs on Black Lives Matter have gone, which is a Marxist organization, and destructive and basically bent on the eradication of our traditional American culture. No question about it. I proved it in 3 videos. YouTube deleted them all. And my computer crashed with all of those presentations, really all of my presentations, all of the videos, all of the slides, everything. My PC just went black and crashed. So I had Carbonite data backup. I went into Carbonite. Carbonite had an old computer on it, and it had my current computer on it, which I had selected for backups. Well, guess what? Carbonite did not back up the data that who knows who caused the crash and be deleted from my PC. I lost literally everything that I had done in the last 4 years. Fortunately, I backed up the basic data, slides, and other things onto a physical hard drive. But they really put the hurt on all the work that I've done over the last several years. And it was quite disturbing, quite frustrating that they were able to do that. Well, the majority of that information is back. It's taken me several months to do it, and I'm republishing a lot of those things again. So stand by. So I'm aware of what they can do, and let me show you guys, and give you an idea of what they can do and what they have control of in terms of our computers and our data. This is the CIA, and how far-reaching that is, and how disturbing that is. So let me show you some of this. For example, here we go. You've heard a lot about, of course, as I mentioned a couple of times now, the cloud, the data cloud, which is the big thing now, the data cloud. Everybody puts your information on the cloud. That has always bothered me, because I know, having come from the CIA, and one of my tours was international information security and computer operations. I know that when you put something out on the cloud, it is fair game. Never think that information on the cloud is protected or private, because it is not, no matter what the security claims they make. But I want you to look at this here. Oracle, which of course has its Oracle data cloud, massive data cloud, sharing, storing our information safely, supposedly. The CEO of Oracle makes 30, or in 2020 alone, with the help of COVID-19 and the biosecurity state rollout, which I'll talk about in detail later. In 2020, the CEO of Oracle, using COVID and all the data backups, made his total net worth increase to $34 billion. That's how much these rascals make. It's beyond imagination of the normal person why anybody would want or need this kind of wealth. But in future programs, I'll show you that a lot of these elites are basically, some of them are psychopaths, many of them. And I'll get into Bill Gates in some detail. He's one of them. and connected to, guess what? The CIA and Mossad through his buddy, Jeffrey Epstein. That's a whole nother show. Anyway, so Oracle has this cloud contract that is housing all of our data, claiming that it is secure and safe. There's only one problem. Oracle's contract for the cloud is with none other than the Central Intelligence Agency, who is managing, running, and developing the Oracle Cloud. It gets even worse. What is the Oracle Cloud storing now? Information from the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control. Information from the CDC goes into the Oracle Cloud, which is managed, run, and developed by the CIA. And it gets worse, everybody, because what is on the Oracle Cloud from CDC is all of our vaccination data. Let me say that again. All of our vaccination data, and that would include tracking. And that is why COVID passports, digital passports are so alarming. This is managed by the CIA, everyone. I have not seen this anywhere. Of course, you're not going to see this on the mainstream media, but some of them are mockingbirds for the CIA, and I've addressed that in other programs. Probably be addressing it more. But what I want you all to see is the fact that the CIA, through the Oracle Cloud, is actually controlling vaccination data. And that would include the surveillance and the tracking and COVID digital passports, which they're trying to roll out now. I should be able to just stop right here because this is so bad. Sadly, it gets worse. There's another cloud contract, massive cloud contract, worth $600 million. And that is with, guess who? Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Now, Jeff Bezos is very tightly connected to Bill Gates. And actually, Bezos did the book burning for anyone that questioned the biosecurity state rollout after COVID and all the lockdowns and everything. So I'll get into his connections to Bill Gates later on. But what I want to note here is, guess who the $600 million contract that Amazon has, guess who it's with? You got it, the Central Intelligence Agency is managing, developing the Amazon Data Cloud, also known as AWS. Again, we should be shocked by this. This is an organization, the CIA is, that is unconstitutional. It has got a long history of criminal activity, and now it has surreptitiously gotten in there and is actually controlling our data. The way that they put it is Amazon and the CIA entered into this contract to, quote, monitor future trends in the cloud and on the internet, unquote. Yeah, we know what that means. Monitor. That's the word that you want to focus on. Monitor our data. This should scare the daylights out of everyone. I know this beast. I was in there. I know it intimately from top to bottom. I had 7 different assignments in all 4 directorates. I know the place. I know what makes it tick. And this should scare everybody. Now, our internet data and our behavioral information, meaning they are monitoring people's behavior in the cloud, what they click on, what they store, where they go, and who they are in the Amazon AWS. And that's already there, everybody. Matter of fact, it's been there for a couple of years. And it is well underway. It's a secret contract. And as I mentioned in Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s book, every time the CIA enters into a contract with these mogul elites, they have to sign a secrecy agreement for any data that the CIA gives them. Even stuff that's not classified, the CIA will claim it's under the agreement, so that Bezos and these other people fall right into the trap of being bound by the CIA secrecy agreement and never able to talk about anything the CIA is doing in that regard for the rest of their life or face prison. I know, because when I came out and blew the whistle, that is one of the risks I had to take. I got everything out before they were able to do anything. And by the grace of God, was able to checkmate that. But that's how they do this. Now, the Mockingbird mainstream media, and I've done 2 shows on that. I'm going to do some more to get into greater detail. But guess who Jeff Bezos bought and owns now? The biggest Mockingbird paper since its inception with Ruth and Catherine Graham back in the late, about the 2021, I think it was. The Washington Post has been a mockingbird for the CIA, a faithful lapdog for decades, and it still is. And Jeff Bezos and Amazon has purchased and now is running the Washington Post. When I first came out and blew the whistle on my story, I went to the Washington Post to give them the story, and the Washington Post went directly to the CIA and reported it. And then the Washington Post reporter, I'll leave his name out for now because he was played by Bob Woodward, his editor. And if you know, I've done programs on Bob Woodward and his lies in the book Veil. Sadly for him, I was there. He didn't count on that. But the Washington Post has been a CIA mockingbird paper, and Bob Woodward, its senior editor, has been connected to the CIA for many, many years. So here we have it. And we wonder why we're not getting the full information on what's going on, especially in terms of the response to COVID and these and I call it and many do now, Bob Kennedy also, the biosecurity state. And they've rolled out these police state tactics, and they're now pushing that through the mainstream media onto the public. And we meet people all the time who have no idea what has just happened. I'm not going to get into vaccines right now or that. I do that later in terms of messenger RNA and everything. What I'm getting into is the police state control system that was already set up waiting for COVID for it to be rolled out. And this rascal is one of the perpetrators of that, and also one of the censors. Now I put a picture down the bottom right of the Amazon smartwatch. They are working on developing the smartwatch data collection and storage, monitoring your biometric activity. If you saw my program on the Microsoft patent in regards to monitoring people's biometric data, I suggest you watch that. It is extremely alarming. That patent has been approved. So it is abundantly clear that one of the ways they're going to begin monitoring the biometric activity of Americans is through these smartwatches, which are connected to, guess what? The cloud. Now, the smartwatch is a fun thing. It's a practical thing, as the Apple Watch is too. But these wearables, this wearable technology is the initial mechanism they're using to collect your biometric data: heart rate, blood pressure, skin temperature, behavior, your mental behavior based on the responses biologically in your body can actually predict what you're thinking or your mood at the time. And they're going to do this starting with these wearables and these smartwatches. I just want to give you a heads up. If you have one, just be careful and understand that that thing is not secure. So just think of that accordingly. All right, everybody, there's a whole lot more coming. I've got, several hours presentations that I have put together since I finished my research that we'll be getting into. I just don't want to wear you out with too long a program, so I'm going to be doing them in segments. But I just wanted you guys to see this. You're seeing it first. No one has seen this yet. And I want you to just see the gravity of this situation. And the reason is, when you do, we're going to be working together on how to prepare for this, or at least how to protect yourself. And I'll get into that in quite a bit as we go through future programs. Of course, you can go to my website, which is attacked daily, sometimes 200 times a day, at kevinship.com. It's attacked by the United States, Russia, the Middle East, and all kinds of other people. I got a guy who likes what I do, who's a Fortune 500 web developer who built kevinship.com. A whole lot of security because he believes in this message. And of course, here at patreon.com/Kevin_Ship, that is the backbone of what I do. And if you want to follow me at Twitter at Kevin_Ship, I post things daily, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, on the erosion of our freedom, government surveillance, and things like that pretty regularly. So you can get some updated information. It's all documented. It comes from vetted sources. And I create a long library where you can go into my Twitter account and go down and review some of the articles if you need that information. So that's it for today, everybody. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. And we got a long journey to take here in terms of exposing what has gone on since the rollout of the biosecurity state using COVID-19, and that mechanism was already in place and already developed. That's why it was implemented so quickly and transferred to Australia and other countries, New Zealand and others, same procedure. So we'll get into that. Thank you all so much for joining me. And I hope this helped you. And we will see you on the next program. Thanks.